So the other week, Bernie Sanders was pushing to try to get something through the Senate that would have condemned Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen and stopped our support of that genocide. This is something that Bernie worked with Mike Lee on during the Trump years. They got it through the Senate, and then Trump vetoed it. So Bernie brings this back up. He's pushing to get it through. And what happens is the Biden administration behind the scenes is whipping votes against what Bernie's doing. So Biden is actively trying to kill this thing and kill it before it even gets off the ground. So Bernie takes to the floor. He wants a vote on it. He's given a speech. And then Biden reaches out in a panic and he says, hey, man, pull it because I'll negotiate with you one-on-one and we'll find a way to please you. So Bernie pulls it. Now, the real reason why he pulled it is because Biden almost certainly made a veto threat and said, look, even if you get this thing through, I'm going to fucking veto it. So just come and talk to me. And so Bernie pulled it under pressure from Biden. Now notice, Joe Biden never pressures anybody for fucking anything when it comes to higher minimum wage or paid maternity leave or things for the people. But now all of a sudden he goes to bat for fucking Saudi Arabia, a theocratic dictatorship. So he knows how to apply pressure, but he only knows how to apply it over bad things. So Bernie then goes on MSNBC to talk about, his attempt to stop the U.S. support of a Saudi genocide in Yemen. Let's see what he says.
One thing, you had a resolution which
sorry for the quality of the audio. This is just Case Study QB's audio on this was a little off.
Would have ended most U.S. funding for Saudi Arabia, specifically in light of the war on Yemen, which is said to be the world's biggest humanitarian disaster right now. You withdrew that. Tell me why.
Well, I withdrew it for two reasons. Number one, the Biden administration was working very, very hard against us.
So translate, he was whipping votes against it. So he was trying to make it so it didn't pass. But even if it did pass, he was like, I'm going to fucking veto that shit anyway. So don't waste your time. Come talk to me.
Did not have the votes to pass it. Just before I went up to introduce the resolution, we got a call from the Biden people. They wanted to talk to me about how we can bring peace to Yemen. Yemen, as you just indicated, is the worst humanitarian situation on earth. It is a nightmare that is unspeakable, what the people in that country are suffering. Saudi Arabia, in my view, is an absolutely disgusting government in terms of human rights, in terms of their foreign policy. I do not want to see us. I think we've got to stand up to their despotism, to their warmongering. So this is an issue I will be working with the Biden administration on. Hopefully we can reach some agreement.
Now, let's keep it real. It's overwhelmingly likely there will not be some sort of an agreement that actually stops the material support to Saudi Arabia because Biden is massively cucked to Saudi Arabia, even after they spit in his eye, even after they screwed the U.S. and boosted Russia, even after they didn't do with oil what we wanted them to do with the oil. He's still bending the knee. And so what should really happen here is Joe Biden needs to grow a pair, and Joe Biden needs to start the unwinding of the U.S. relationship with Saudi Arabia. And understand something, we just opened the door to get an oil deal with Venezuela. We're allowing some oil to get into this country from Venezuela. Make a better deal with Venezuela. Make a deal where we're getting a lot of oil from Venezuela in the short term. Also, ban U.S. exports of our oil and gas. We export 40% of our oil and gas. If we ban our exports, well, guess what? All of a sudden, we become very self-reliant. Now, that will impact the global oil market, and some of our allies will be upset with us because we're no longer sending them oil, right? But we have the ability to fix this problem. The short-term problem is, we need more oil because Saudi Arabia, because of their actions, they were effectively jacking up the price, trying to screw Biden in the midterms, right? Short-term, we need more oil. Long-term, we need to get off the oil completely. And so we started down that path with the IRA, with the billions of dollars of investment in green technology and green energy. That's a good thing. Obviously, we need to go further. But make a deal with Venezuela, ban U.S. oil exports. I mean, you guys know me. I would nationalize our oil. That's the real way to solve this problem, because then we can, prioritize domestically what we want to do with it. But at the very least, ban oil exports, do a better deal with Venezuela, and start untangling our relationship with Saudi Arabia, because they've shown they are not a reliable partner, and also they're a dictatorship and a theocracy, and they are immoral and unethical to their fucking core. But Biden does not have the stones because Biden is a status quo politician and he doesn't want to shake things up too much. And so effectively, he's stopping Bernie Sanders from doing something which is undeniably good and moral simply for business reasons, simply to keep business as usual flowing, even though the Saudis already disrespected him and spit in his eye. So I would love to be a fly on the wall in those meetings with Bernie and Biden, because I'm sure Biden's going to let out some truths there about, oh, we need Saudi Arabia because of this, and this. We can't do it, bro. We can't piss them off even more because that'll hurt our oil markets and blah, 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 blah. What about the Yemeni babies, women and babies who have been massacred? What about the bombings of hospitals and schools and mosques and open-air markets that happen on a regular basis? What about the embargo, blocking goods? What about the famine going on in that country with our support, with our money in our name? What about that? Biden doesn't care about that. Bernie does, but he's being blocked by Biden. Biden needs to grow a pair and get the fuck away from Saudi Arabia. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.